world. I've been out of my mind, I've been dreaming things and scheming things. I've been smoking the poison, you've been slinging your anecdotes. I've been fucking around while you were saving the world from nothing. The end, things will never go our way. In the end, things will never go. So take it in, don't hold your breath. The bottom's all I found. We can't get higher than we get on the long way down. On the long way down. On the long way down. Burning mud in my eyes, blinding me from the truth. If there's a shadow in me, the dark is a tidal wave inside of you. Taking shots of communion, getting drunk on your antidote. I'll save you a seat next to me down below. The end, everyone will go away. In the end, everything will go. So take it in, don't hold your breath. The bottom's all I found. We can't get higher than we get on the long way down. On the long way down. On the long way down. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Down. On the long way down. On the long way down.
Back to Rage Against the Regime. I'm your host, Becky Truestinger Williams. It's been a while. I took about a week and a half off, and I am back. Good morning to my brothers and sisters across the globe. We're all in the same boat. This ship is sinking, and nobody's doing a damn thing about it. Wanted to touch base today on a couple of things that are extremely disturbing. One in particular is the so-called refugee invasion that we are witnessing take place across the globe. We have, in Germany, 700 out of approximately 4,000 refugees in one camp, who they are calling asylum seekers, have been initially accommodated in the German state of Lower Saxony, have just mysteriously disappeared. 700 Muslim demonic pigs got up and left a facility without notice. How the hell does that happen? That's a lot of people. Who's minding the camps that these so-called asylum seekers are coming into? I want to cover a couple of things that are going on here. They're saying that there was an administrative breakdown in Germany, that local authorities are clueless about who these people are, where they have taken off to. But they've melted into society. They're obviously a threat. If they are not there seeking asylum and assistance through the government benefit program and have simply disappeared, by deduction, you probably assume the same thing that I do. We can deduce that those are, in fact, terrorists that are trying to disappear, sleeper cells, if you will. The staggering figures were revealed by local officials in northwest Germany. in the state by a survey conducted by one of the NOZ newspapers there. Many of the refugees had not been registered yet. Nothing is known about who they are, where they might have gone to. In other words, there's no identification on them, so there's no way to search for them either by photograph or fingerprints or any of the like. So we've got some real issues going on. Also, these so-called refugees that are being brought in, I received some documentation from, and I posted it up. Very, very few people paid attention. You know, patriots have become very, very lazy. I post up this information so that you understand the dire straits that we're in, and you repost it, don't look at it, no comments. But very few people even looked at the documents. My brother Bill Bohart sent me some PDF files on the RAND Corporation, what their functions are, and some of the information on the UN agenda to move Muslims in across the globe under a refugee status, and to continue to push the moderate Muslim fallacy. There is no moderate Muslim. If they follow the Quran, if they claim to be Muslim, there is no moderate Muslim. They are taught to kill, steal, and destroy from birth, to be deceptive, to use lies, to do whatever they have to do in order to achieve their agenda, which is complete world domination. They'll make you think that they're your friends. And we've got some other things that are going on that I'm going to cover as well in just a moment, concerning our military being forced to fight alongside these Muslim pigs, these terrorist cells, that it turns out our very own government played a huge role in creating all of them. This thing that we are watching, this demonic surge, has been something that's been orchestrated and that they have worked at for literally at least 70 years to achieve what they're doing. And we're seeing the crescendo, if you will, of their evil plan. The other document that was sent to me on the RAND Corporation speaks about Agenda 21, the movement of the Communist Marxist Party to take over, the infiltration that started back in 1933 with purpose into our government and our universities. And what we see going on today with our resistance in our battles amongst each other as society as a whole continues to claim, conservative status or liberal status. That, in fact, is part of the PSYOP plan, was to divide a nation. And unfortunately for us, what we're seeing is they've taken this level of brainwashing to accept communism and Marxism as an embraced choice for society. We're seeing them impose this on our children in middle school and in elementary and in high school as well, through the Common Core curriculum, which is also a part of this RAND Corporation documentation that I posted up. I'm going to go pull 3 PDF files, and I'm going to repost them on my page, on the Rage page, on True Stinger, on Becky Williams for Governor page. I still have that page. And then I would really encourage you, I would really encourage you all to take a long, hard look at what they've been doing. This so-called refugee program is something that they have been working on for many, many years. This is an invasion. Originally, when the U.S. started their refugee program or sanctuary program, it was to be a limited number of individuals, and it was never meant to be for the public to understand or know, have knowledge of, the lengths or the depth, I need to say, the depth of debt that this would take us into. We did not know as a public the welfare benefits and the ramifications from those benefits that have continued to be given out, and the money, the exceptions for taxation, being compliant with Sharia law, educating them. Essentially, our tax dollars have paid for many years for this enemy that has taken over our government and our agencies across the board, including our military and our DOD, Department of Defense, FBI, CIA, DHS, TSA, you name it. We've been infiltrated by Islam. Now, I've been barking about the UN and Islam since before I decided I would run for the governor of Texas. And had some falling out with some people like Jan Mitchell and others who told me, stop focusing on that bullshit, that's a quote, and pay attention to what you need to pay attention to. Well, for Jan Mitchell and some of the others out there that I had a falling out with concerning Islam and my warnings, 4 or 5 years ago with the Common Core issue and the brainwashing of your children, all I can say is you're a dumbass and I nailed it. And it's not that I have there's no gratification in saying that. I wish I had been incorrect, but unfortunately I was not. Through God's discernment, many hours of research, many years of research with teams and independent research, we are finding out that Islam is the foot soldier for the Catholic Church or the Pope, the demonic bastard, and they have been for years. They were created by the Catholics and the Jesuits, and they are infiltrating the globe. It's called the Caliphate. Listen, the Middle East has been at war for centuries, literally centuries. Now, it doesn't take a genius to figure this out. Supposedly, these people are poor. They've been oppressed by their leadership in those nations, and this is why America continues to go in and be the assassin under the guises of peacekeepers to keep this out of America. Well, it's all over America. 9/11 was a collaborated effort by the Saudis and our own government to further their agenda, to create war, to fatten the pockets of Northrop Grumman and and Halliburton. Other companies out there that make billions off the war, they're pocketing money. They know when they're going to award a contract, and Congress has to be signed off on. You want to talk about Ponzi schemes and inside trading. I mean, come on, people. How the hell do you think all these government officials, these senators and the presidents all of a sudden become multimillionaires or billionaires? Probably is more like it. There's money missing from Obamacare, billions, and nobody's answering for where it went. And another thing, back on the Obamacare thing, Obama, kiss my ass, you piece of shit, you Muslim usurping pig. Obamacare, Obama phone, Obama this, Obama that. Only a dictator will start doing those things, implementing things, and calling it by their name to leave their mark. It is also part of the caliphate, by the way. It's what he's doing to establish dominance over America. He wants to leave his name. And he's mocking us. Holding Ramadan, holding Muslim prayers, having terrorist Muslim pigs in our White House, ignoring God and a day for prayer for Christians, but embracing Ramadan. And now they want to throw into the midst a new holiday for our children to embrace the illegal alien or foreign invader, whatever you want to call them. I call them foreign invaders because that's what they are. So they're going to get our children to become especially receptive or resistance to be established in their mind with acceptance for these invaders, these foreign invaders, these nationals that do not belong in our country, to embrace them and to open their arms up to them and be accepting of them. And that's a part of the brainwashing. So I'm going to put these documents back up on Facebook, and you need to share them, but I don't want you to just share them. I want you to read them. Knowledge is power. You know, if I have all this knowledge, or a handful of us patriots have all this knowledge, but we don't have collectively that knowledge imparted to numbers, we will never, ever, ever realize as a whole the detriment we're in. And, you know, great minds working together find solutions, and we definitely need to find a solution our way out of here. But our soldiers are now resisting. I mean, I'm seeing pictures of soldiers across the board saying, I did not join the military to fight beside Al-Qaeda in Syria against ISIS. I'm not going to do it. Our military personnel who signed up with good heart, patriot, felt that was their calling in life, sacrificing everything, putting their own lives in danger, unfortunately have, like the black population, been used literally to death. We know now that the government created ISIS. We know that they have been funding them. They have left the equipment in Iraq for them to, when they moved into the Levant, to pick that weapon, the weapons up and the munitions that were left behind, which you never do when you pull out of a war. You destroy them. You either remove or destroy that military equipment and munitions. And obviously we know now why Obama did not, because he's a piece of shit. He's a usurping Muslim tyrant guilty of espionage. And if he were legal to sit as president over the United States of America, he would, in fact, he should be hung for treason after trial, period. And I don't give a shit what agency doesn't like me saying that. That's fact. You know, the truth sucks, but it's the truth. Doesn't always taste good going down, but I'm just going to go ahead and shove my foot in it and force feed you a little bit of truth there. So, we have some other things that are going on across the board. We have Obama posturing up against China concerning the islands that China built in Passage, which is nothing more than, you know, two dictators sword fighting with their small penises to see who can push who the furthest. So there's some division going on there. Also in the UN, where China is concerned, we have some bad things that are going on with monetary system. The petrodollar is being pushed out. The yuan is being embraced. That's China's move to collapse our economy completely. So there's many facets to war, and we are definitely in the throes of them. But back to the refugees, which is where I started this show off. We had Senator Dubin. His name is Dick. I like to call him Dickhead because he's a mouthful of shit. He was on the floor. I watched a video where he's on the floor talking about bringing the refugees into the United States and how we all need to be humanitarians, and, you know, the Pope and the UN are forcing this on every nation, and our governments across the globe are allowing this invasion. But Dubin got up on the floor, and that piece of shit stated that we are processing every individual that is being brought into this country under a refugee status out of Syria. Well, Dubin, you're a friggin' liar. Called you on it, put up on your page, personal challenge, show me the proof personally, and you ignored that because you, like the rest of Congress, don't think you have to answer to us. Well, sir, you are wrong. You will answer to us. All of Congress and Obama and his cabinet will answer to the American people. Your time is running out. We've had enough of your tyranny and imposing the unlawful things that you've imposed on us and endangering us, putting us in danger, aiding and abetting the enemy. We've had enough. You've endangered my children, and if I have to stand alone and I have to scream from the top of the mountain, if I have to get out with my bullhorn, if I have to continue to rage on underground radio like I'm doing today, I'm going to call a dog a dog. I'm going to speak the truth. I'm going to impart the truth, factual information. I'm going to encourage those that listen to this broadcast to do your own homework. And I always like to include the FBI and the CIA and... Excuse me, I have a bit of a dry throat. I'm taking a drink. But I like to encourage all of the NSA eavesdroppers by sharing some information with you. You know, you're working for Satan. You're working for a demonic entity, and I don't care what they promised you. I don't give a shit why you take your paycheck and do the things that you do to the American people, to the people around the globe. I don't really give a shit because there is no good excuse as to why you would do something like that. I will tell you this. I know God is real. Yeah, I cuss, but I am still a Christian. When they're finished with you, when they don't need you anymore, and that's about to happen, by the way, because Obama and Loretta Lynch, another piece of shit, Muslim pig, have decided that they would sign a UN arms treaty, and they would go in with which, by the way, is in the PDF files, guys. This sustainable cities network, this strong cities network, where our local police enforcement is going to be under global policing control, i.e. UN, which we're not going to stand for, by the way. I'm just going to let you know that. But anyway, when they get through with, when you are of no use to them anymore, you dumb son of a bitches, your family is in as much danger as mine. And they're going to kill you too. Because we already know what the agenda is. It's to silence people like myself and other patriots. They call us domestic terrorists. This is why they're bringing in the Strong Cities Network to defend this country against the homegrown terrorism bullshit that they're blowing up everybody's ass. The terrorism that is in America right now, the homegrown would be the likes of Al Sharpton and Farrakhan and Quanell X and the Black Lives Matter and the Black Panthers and the thug culture. Okay, there's your homegrown terrorists calling for the genocide whites, attacking whites, mobbing. Then the other terrorists would be those that they've let in through open borders and by turning them out of the prison system, which is something Obama continues to do. Obama, you're a piece of shit. Why don't you take your two little princesses and put them in fucking real world like we live in and expose them to the shit that you're exposing us to? Why don't you do that, you little monkey-looking bastard? You little camel dung? Why don't you do that? Why don't you and Michelle and your two little pigs come on down here to the real world and shop in my neighborhood, walk the streets of my neighborhood, or across this country with people who don't have armed security, with people who don't have a chef cooking us food that's not tainted with GMOs. Why don't you come down here to our level, you son of a bitch? Why don't you live like we have to live and be exposed to what you've exposed us to? And better yet, why don't you give us back all the fucking money you've taken from us? The billions you spent on vacations, the billions you have stolen and hidden in assets, all the shit you've taken away from us while you laugh at us. Why don't you give it back, you tyrant? You're a criminal. Crimes against humanity, you're a murderer. People are dying every day in this country because you bring this shit to our shores. You and the Bushes and the Clintons and Carter and the rest of the son of a bitches all the way back to the beginning of this country have set us up to be your slaves. You have used lives for your own purposes. You have played God and you're playing God now. You are making decisions on who lives and dies. You are depositing the absolute most evil human beings, if you could call them that. I don't want to call them human beings because they're not. They're demonic entities. And you're imposing that on America. You're bringing them into my neighborhood. They're taking over my country. They have taken over my country. That's your terrorist, you piece of shit. And I got one better for you. You are a terrorist. You're the terrorist in my country. America, it is time for us to wake up. We have got to find a way to remove Obama and remove his cabinet and remove Congress, who is guilty of misprision of felony, who is guilty of treason. The Sergeant of Arms is guilty of treason. All the communists in this country, across the board, are guilty of treason. I don't give a shit if it's your kid in college who has been indoctrinated. They're guilty of treason. They're taking America down. They are oppressing us. We have been taken down. Alinsky at work. It's all coming down, folks. And this is the end times. If you do not believe in God, that's your prerogative. But read the Bible. I want you to go to the book of Daniel. I want you to go to the book of Revelation. I want you to understand that we are in the end times. These things are biblical. God did not mean for the Christian to sit down and allow Satan's army to come in and slaughter us without resistance. And that's in fact what is happening. And that, just like the nigga said, the DHS officer, agent, whatever you want to call him, the piece of shit nigger, I'm going to say it because that's what it is, the thug who worked for the Department of Homeland Security, Border Patrol, made a video and he said, we will pick the whites off one by one. You people better understand that we are the target. We are the target. And these fools that are out here following people like him and Farrakhan and Al Sharpton have been paid big bucks to do what they're doing. Soros sunk $33 million into the Black Lives Matter movement. It was well orchestrated, well organized thuggery of criminals that they want to use. Their agenda has to be completed, and they're using the black community one more time in this final surge. And these idiots really think they're somebody. They're nobody. Just like everybody else, just like I told the agencies on this show, when they're finished with them, they will kill them too. They have used them to death. And understand when I use the word nigger, I'm not talking about a color, I'm talking about a culture. Because many of those people that are in the Black Lives Matter movement, dumbass white people, think that they're covered because they're on their side and they know homeboy, well, they're going to die too because it's against all whites. It's much like Islam. That culture of the black population is just like Islam. They will lie, lie, lie. And they have one target, and that is destruction. Domination, entitlement, take over. So you guys be aware of your surroundings. Situational awareness is everything. We are in the throes of this. And now with the most recent incident of a police officer taking a little black bitch out of her chair at school. Y'all can argue with me all day long and say he used excessive force till you know the whole story. And even some of the students that are coming out now and saying, yeah, this happened, this happened, this happened. But when the police officer tried to remove her from her chair, put his arms under her legs, she flung her knees up to keep him in the chair. Then she started punching him in the face. I watched the video over and over again. That is, in fact, what happened. She spat on him and she punched him in the face. Now we've got another incident, and it's supposedly some kid. She's a friggin' adult. She's a senior in high school. And her mother is making statement that she's proud that her daughter resisted the police officer. And then the school system there and even the local police department is chastising this police officer for doing his job. That's right. It's all part of the agenda. They made sure they made references to how many blacks were in the school and the percentage of whites. It's more blacks than whites, and this is an ongoing issue that the blacks are being targeted. Listen, people, they're not being targeted. These fucking little retards, these black pigs, these little waste of flesh that are in that culture, and I say that because they bring nothing good to society. Those people have no respect for anyone, not even themselves. And we're seeing this across the board, and we're seeing little Whitey get on that same bandwagon, and we're seeing little Poncho get on that same bandwagon. We're seeing our youth with so much lack of moral. They have no morals. They have no respect. They don't give a shit about anything, and they take what they want. For anybody out there that's listening, that's raising up some kid with a mentality like that, from this mother, from this grandmother, who is well capable, belted, martial arts, knows how to use her weapon, carries her weapon, I will send your fucking punk-ass kid home to you in a box if they come up on me like that. You better check your children. If I caught one of my kids, my grandkids, acting like that and being disrespectful, not only would I shake that cop's hand for handling her, I would beat her ass when I got her home. And her room would be her entire universe for the rest of the school year. She would attend school via the internet with me standing over her ass every day to see to it she did her work. That phone would have been smashed to 1,000,000 friggin' pieces. But this black culture, her mama is proud of what she did. And they're going to run right down and get rich. That's the new thing, by the way. Push them until you can sue them. That's the new thing. The Muslims do that same shit too. They're one and the same. They're both demonic pigs. That culture is nothing but a waste of flesh. They are the thorn in society's ass, and they need to be eradicated. You put a rabid dog down. Now, you either eradicate it by educating or holding the parents responsible, but you better find a way to fix this societal problem. because people like me and others will not be victim to your little thugs that you turn out on society. So if you're listening and you're not parenting your children and you're letting them go amok and listen to the shit on the radio and live inside of an Xbox and a cell phone and have no responsibility and have no manners, don't turn them out on me. Do not turn them out on me, because it will not end well. We have some other things that are going on as well. We got some asshat calling the hurricane a hoax. Well, for the gentleman who wrote that stupid article about the hurricane being a hoax, and those were, some kind of beefed up photos. I live in Texas. I know for a fact we have major flooding. Don't know what kind of hoax you think it is. My partner lives down in Galveston. Ron posted up video and pictures. Guarantee you it was a storm. Guarantee you there was flooding. Guarantee you that it wasn't a hoax. We suffered a lot of damage here in Texas from that storm. So people, please do your homework and don't keep putting out bad information. Check your sources. If you can't verify it by 2 or 3 sources, and those are good sources, not Snopes or Snoops and DC Clothesline and things like that. If you can't check your sources, please don't post that crap up in my pages, and please don't post it up on my wall. Stop giving out bad information. We got enough of a fight ahead of us that we don't need to continue to confuse the population. I'm going to go ahead and cut this show off. This was just a brief show. I wanted to go over the missing refugees. This is happening all across Europe. It's also happening in America. They came across that border and they continue. By the way, that border is wide open. Nobody's covering it, but the Mexican border is wide open in America. I just want you people to know that. And it's not just Mexicans coming across, and it's not 4,000 or 5,000, and it's not, 1.5 million is bullshit that, since Obama's been in. I did some homework. We have 1/4 of Mexico's entire population has escaped into America. 1/4 of El Salvador. I don't know what the numbers are out of Venezuela and some of the other, South Americas, all the other countries. Cuba's coming in, pouring in like rain. Pardon me. They're coming out of Canada. Nobody's covering what's going on the Canadian border. Speaking of Canada, that little bastard that was elected up in Canada, the little liberal communist piece of shit, he used the exact same verbiage in his inauguration speech or his victory speech, whatever you want to call it, that Obama used. For you people up there in Canada, God bless you, man. You got your hands full, but it is official. We also have pictures of him praying in a mosque. He's a Muslim convert. He's a piece of shit. And America and Canada now have been taken over by Islam, and that is a very fucking sad state of affairs that we have allowed this to happen in our country and in Canada. So we're surrounded. Now what do? You have suggestions, feel free to send them to me. Drop a line here in chat. Get this broadcast out to all of your friends. Encourage them to listen to it. If they agree with what I've said on here, or if they want to try to refute the information that I give out, tell them do the research. And I'll hold a live broadcast. We now have the capability through Spreaker to have phone calls, to have callers call in. And I'm figuring out how to use the new studio program that we have. So as soon as I get that up and running, we'll be doing Rage Against the Regime. As we did before, we have abandoned Blog Talk Radio, paying far too much money for far too many problems with them. Bobby has abandoned them. And we are exclusively looking at Periscope and Spreaker right now. So you guys have a blessed day. Keep your head on swivel. We are at war. First shot's already been fired. Stop thinking stupidly. And for our Texas Freedom people out there, I got some bad news for you fellas. They will never let us secede by vote. It's not going to happen. If we want Texas, we're going to wind up having to fight that revolution in order to get our autonomy and independence, because they are not going to give it up. China is investing big bucks in our oil wells. We had a 5,000 and some odd acre ranch that was auctioned off, $792 or $95 million. Anonymous. They won't disclose who bought that property, but there were so many resources on that land. I think there was 120 wells on that land. Much of the land had not been surveyed for resources, but you can bet your ass that was a foreign entity that bought that land. Soros or Saudis, I don't know who it was, but they're not going to let us know. It could even be China for that matter, but it spans over 12 or 13 different counties, I believe it was. So for my Texas Freedom people out there, I got some bad news for you. Unless we can get a governor in there like me, or somebody like-minded, that will go in, take the victory, and go in and clean house for the people in our own state Congress and get rid of all of the agents for the oligarchy and give this land back to the people, we will never see a secession. They are selling us out to the foreign entities, and the UN agenda is this. If ICLEI is in your major city, and that's where they are mostly, is in the major cities, and have managed to take over your municipalities at your state capital cities, you're screwed. And so Texas, we're screwed, because that means that we forfeit the U.S. Constitution and fall under the UN Constitution, and we have forfeited our Texas Constitution as well. Your mayors have signed off on it. They're agents for the oligarchy. Obama has met with them. They're part of the Sustainable Cities program, which is nothing more than Agenda 21, which means that we have been taken over, and we're either going to stand up and stop this bullshit, or we're going to friggin' die and fry. So you make up your minds what you're going to do. I've already made my mind up as to what I'm going to do, and that's why I preach it like the gospel every damn day. Keep your head on swivel. I love each and every one of you. God bless America. Get on your knees and start praying for this country. Get your children to the church. If you're not going to take them to the church, you better hold it in your house. Get them immersed in the word of the Lord, and we will be victors. In this, we will be more than conquerors. This is Becky Williams, the Truth Stinger. I'm signing off. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.